sets of data for the existence of Jesus. 15 independent sources.
This historian debunks any myths regarding Jesus' history. So make sure to watch till the end because I have a Bible verse that will tie all of this together. Let's get into it.
So what is, in your mind, the fastest way to disarm a mythicist?
I've got a book called Historical Jesus where I list a dozen and a half texts, many of them outside the New Testament, in the ancient world for the existence of Jesus. But one probably better example I would use, some say, yeah, but you're a Christian. Okay, Bart Ehrman, an atheist New Testament scholar. Bart Ehrman gives 15 independent sources for the crucifixion of Jesus within 100 years. Now, 100 years is actually kind of strict, but it's a nice, narrow parameter for saying Jesus lived. 100, and here's an atheist, 100 years time, 15 different sources evidencing Jesus' death.
Wow, there's 15 sources. That just proves that Jesus did exist. You can't deny that he didn't ever live this earth, because if you do, then you need to do some research. Anyway, let's continue.
Lived. So Bart Ehrman calls that one of the two best evidences we have for that Jesus lived in history. The other one is that Paul is the best New Testament reference we have. Critics talk about half of Paul's epistles, 7 out of 13, being accredited, and you can use them in arguing because they're great sources. Well, the best thing Paul gives us is that he was an eyewitness to the eyewitnesses. Paul in Galatians 1 and again in Galatians 2, he went to Jerusalem and got to know Peter, James, the brother of Jesus, then in Galatians 2, John. They're all together, and the topic they're discussing, as Paul tells us, is the nature of the gospel, to make sure they're all on the same page. And Paul concludes, yes, they're all on the same page. But here, that's two great sets of data for the existence of Jesus. 15 independent sources for the crucifixion of Jesus, and Paul knowing himself, of course, Peter, James, and John, the big four. He knows all of them, and he can ask them whatever questions he wants to about what Jesus looked like when he was walking and talking in Galilee. So it would be like asking George Washington or asking Thomas Jefferson, what was George like? Asking Adams and John Quincy Adams and Monroe and so on, what do you know about George? And then it'd be really cool if you could talk to Martha. And that's neat because we have the women's testimony for going to the tomb and so on. So you make
Jesus came to Paul on the road to Damascus. This guy was literally going and killing Christians, but something happened to him where it caused him to stop doing what he's doing and live for Jesus. And he was able to find people who knew Jesus and saw Jesus and were witnesses to Jesus' resurrection. And this helped Paul even more and more each and every day to bring the gospel to other people because it changed his life. Let's continue.
It's neat because we have the women's testimony for going to the tomb and so on. So you make a multifaceted case for George Washington being the first president of the United States. We can do the same thing with Jesus actually having existed. And as Bart Ehrman says, he knows of nobody, no accredited specialist in the field of religion, no matter how liberal or how atheist or whatever, none of them who will have university, college, or seminary positions, none of them teach that Jesus never lived. The guys who teach it and claim to be scholars are people who don't have accredited degrees. He said with two exceptions, is Bart's count. The rest do not have accredited degrees, and none of them have university positions.
Why are they making such a big splash, do you think?
Probably because they infiltrate almost every website there is and have a bunch of, they have a loud presence. Whatever side you're on, recently there was a choice for Supreme Court justice in this country. How come the voices that made it on the news shows were the little chattering voices that ran next to the senators and got up in their ear and chirped at them and wouldn't let them sit down at the tables, and because that kind of thing makes the news. And people said, whoa. And when they say, oh, no, and they pretend like they're scholars, but they don't have any training, they haven't been in the field, and all the other scholars, atheists even, like Bart Ehrman, say they're wrong. So to me, that's the real test. It's not just Christians saying they're wrong. it's non-Christian scholars saying they don't have a chance.
Wow, there you have it. Proof for Jesus existing. So now I have a Bible verse that will tie all of this together. Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can go to the Father except through me. So go to Jesus today. Know that he loves you. Admit that Jesus died on the cross and rose again in 3 days so that you can be saved. Make him your Lord and Savior over your life. And that will be the greatest decision of your entire life. So do that today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I know I can't do it without your help. So thank you for all your love and support. It means the world. And you might like this video. Peace.